Hi there, everyone. Helena here, and I am so excited to be joined by the first world star nail artist, the lovely Katy Pottle. Thank you for joining us.
Oh.
I feel like I should have some kind of audio applause prepared for there because you've been on such an incredible journey, and it's just so nice to have you here with your trophy in the background, ready to talk all things competition and all things KTP.
Oh, thanks for having me. That was an amazing introduction as well.
An absolute pleasure. Now, why don't we kick off? So it's the first time Scratch has run the World Star Nail Artist competition, and I'll recap on what it involved in a moment. But why don't you just firstly tell us all about you? Who is KTP?
Wow. So yeah, I'm Katy P. I've been in the beauty industry for 21 years, a little bit old now. So I've done all things beauty, but about 10 years ago, I set up my own home salon, and that's when my passion for nails just took off. I got to choose my own nail brands, do my own courses. So I learned so much, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, 10 years doing nails, and just decided to jump into WSNA this year.
Fantastic. And you're kind of entering from a bit of a multicultural stance at the moment, because you're not in the UK at the moment, are you?
No, so I was in the UK when I entered WSNA, but I had applied for a visa to have a year in Spain. So during the competition around the end of March, we moved to Spain. So I'm now here.
So you came back over for the Scratch Stars party a couple of weeks ago, came back over to London, where you were announced as the winner of this amazing competition. So it might be worth, I'm just going to recap for those that maybe aren't too familiar or are thinking of entering next year, but a recap on what the competition actually is and what was involved. So Scratch partnered with C&D for this. They were our platinum sponsor for the World Star Nail Artist competition, and it was a chance to unite the industry through creativity, so unite the global nail industry. And how we did this was to set a number of challenges. Now, the first challenge upon entry was to create a certain nail design. Bear with me. It was an out of this world nail design with a gold star, which is very prominent in WSNA branding. So you can see it there. That was Katy's creation that got her through to the shortlist stage. So the top 21 in this competition. And then the top 21 were then set a next challenge, a preliminary challenge. Now, I have to keep looking at my notes for this because there's been so many wonderful challenges. This first challenge, you could probably not remember them either because it's been such a long journey. So it'd be nice to do a recap. So when we'd announced our shortlisted applicants, then there was a preliminary challenge, and it was based on C&D's Shade Sense collection. Now, this was to create some pastel nails that played on colour perception with kind of textured and iridescent elements, and you had to do top side and underside nail art to create these. So that is the top side that we're showing just there. Next, I'm going to show you the underside of Katy's preliminary creation. So there it is. So fantastical kind of movement and plays on color perception, iridescence. So really, really beautiful. And that saw Katy swoop into the top 12. But the end wasn't there for the rest of our shortlisted applicants. So the 9 that didn't get through to the top 12 then joined the wildcard deck. Now, the wildcard saw eliminations at each stage from the core challenges that went throughout into the wildcard deck, but their journey wasn't over because they could all still compete in separate, smaller competitions to try and get a place in the final. So the core challenges then went on for our top 12. And the first one, which was basically inspired by a nail coalition. So this coalition was 5 amazing global nail artists, and they were Hazel Dixon, Kirsty Meakin, Lauren Wyman, Valerie Ducharme, and Livette Cephas. And the brief for that was to create a nail inspired by each member of the coalition. So 5 nails total. So Katy, I'm going to share your creation. Do you want to talk through the inspiration behind each one and how you created it?
Of course. Yeah, so this seems such a long time ago.
It really does, doesn't it?
Like, oh, I don't recognise them. So yeah, this was a super cool challenge, and I felt such pressure because what incredible artists the coalition were. So your videos were amazing, and you've done little interviews with each member. And I just took inspiration from a lot of their hobbies. So you can see Kirsty Meakin, she's definitely a pink and green girl. She loves her colour and her rollerblades. You can't see them on this photo, but I made little rollerblades out of 3D clay. Then I had this little aeroplane. So the aeroplane moves with a magnet as well.
It's so creative.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this was a crazy set. It took me forever. Hazel Dixon, she just loves her fashion. So the big bow that I made out of gel colour. She likes to go out and party. So there's a couple of little champagne glasses there as well. Yeah, just this was such a cool challenge. And these are my favourite colours to work with as well. Absolute favourite. Livette is really into her fashion and jewellery, so I took inspiration from her jewellery range as well. And then Lauren, she loves like being out in the wild, in the forest, and she loves camping. So yeah, just took really all inspiration from their hobbies and likes. Yeah, all these colours were like incredible, like just my favourite, and yeah, loved it.
And I think this set really made us, because every challenge there are judges. The Nail Coalition were guest judges for this challenge, and also we have representatives from CND such as Jan Arnold, Beth Livesey, Winnie Huang, and myself that are judging at each stage, at each challenge, to determine who goes through to the next core challenge or who joins the wildcard deck. And for this challenge, we just thought the inventiveness and the detail that you'd put into really thinking about each member of the coalition, really taking what they were saying from the interviews and then putting your own twist on it. And that's when we started thinking, oh, this is quite amazing, actually, like, because you haven't just done a really literal translation of them onto nails. You've kind of thought outside of the box and thought with color and style and design, and it was really clever.
Oh, thank you. Well, they all said they loved colour. Like they all, I mean, I know Livette now has gone monochrome, hasn't she, with her fashion, but they all loved colour at the time of their interviews. And I am the same. I absolutely adore anything bright. So yeah, it just worked. And I had to try the dragon shape as well, because I've never created that before. So yeah, just a great challenge. Loved it.
I think this with you, Katy, throughout each challenge, you have to create a video that kind of is an engaging social media style video about the creative process, but also giving some hints and tips. And it allowed us as judges to learn more about you as a nail artist. And I think what we're all quite astounded as is that this was your first competition. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've never entered anything before, so threw myself in the deep end with this one.
Just a little bit. I mean, what was WSNA? Was it what you expected?
No, and I really felt in sort of January time, because I entered fairly late. You know, I think I entered a few days before the sort of deadline. And in January, I was kind of setting myself little personal challenges. And that was one of them. I just thought, let's give it a go. But I don't think I realised kind of what it was going to be. I just thought, let's do my little astronaut and go from there. So yeah.
And what a wild ride it was, because I think general feedback from the contestants, the participants in this competition, is that it was tough. It's, you have to do a lot in a very short amount of time, and you all just absolutely went at it with vigor, excitement, creativity, and it was amazing to watch. But I mean, how did you manage your time? You had 2 weeks roughly for each challenge, sometimes just shy of 2 weeks. How did you find that?
Tough. Yeah, as much as like I'm going to sit here now and say it was an incredible journey, I loved it, you know, amazing, but it was tough. I think once the challenges come through on a Monday, you kind of had the Monday to like rest a little bit because you'd submitted in the morning, got the next challenge in the evening, but you didn't know you'd gone through. So I just spent sort of that day chilling, recuperating. And then I would just start thinking about what I potentially would want my next design to be if I was going to go through. And that's kind of how I did it for that week until the Friday when we found out who would go through. And then come Saturday, it was like straight in, you know, get going. My time management was pretty awful, I think, for the first few challenges, because I just didn't get a good rhythm. There was a few late nights / all night. But yeah, it was, I just spent the sort of the second week really working as much as I could to get it done.
And I think that's the thing with competitions, isn't it? Is that it teaches you so many different skills, not just sort of product control and innovation and but time management and personal management, and also taking care of your own well-being alongside, you know, going up to the challenge of doing these amazing nail designs. There's a lot to balance and there's a lot to learn, and it's quite a big feat to do all of that and do it comfortably.
It is huge. And I think no matter how many courses you take, you know, in your career, I think being in a competition, especially one like this, you learn so much so quickly because you have to adapt yourself and move on to the next challenge. So I really tried to take, you know, all the notes from the podcast from you guys, you know, all of the judges' comments, and try and then add that in next time. Anything that they sort of said I needed to improve on, it was next week, right, we're going to do all of that as well.
Amazing. And so you got through the preliminary challenge into the top 12 of WSNA, and we had people from all over the world, China, the Netherlands, Canada, the US, strong UK contingent for our first year, because obviously this was launched by Scratch Magazine, which is predominantly UK. So, you know, it's great to have our first winner is repping the UK side of things. But then it came on to challenge 1, and I'm going to show these. Sorry, we've shown the Now Coalition now. Sorry, that was challenge 1. So many challenges. Then it came on to challenge 2, which was called Shine the Light. This was a partnership with the organisation Beauty Changes Lives, which Jan Arnold is a big part of. She is on the board for Beauty Changes Lives as an organisation. And at one of their recent events, they had read this poem aloud called Shine the Light. And you had to be inspired by that poem to create some shiny nails, some glossy nails that had a light up element. And you won this challenge. So talk us through these amazing nails.
Yeah. There was a lot of firsts for me through this competition. I'd never done extreme lengths, 3D work, and never done anything like this. So when this brief come through, I remember being like, okay, this is exciting with the light up element, but where do I even start? And what stuck out to me through the poem, because I absolutely love that poem, was the sort of, you know, we're artists, we're healers, everything we do in our industry is special, and I wanted to showcase each individual word that jumped out at me from the poem. And we've been traveling a lot around Spain. There's a lot of churches in Spain, and I just love the stained glass windows. So this is, I know Winnie calls it the castle, but it is, it's representing a stained glass window from a church. So yeah, I just felt like each element deserved their own window.
It was amazing. I mean, we were so blown away by this, because sometimes, obviously, in a nail competition, a lot of the time, you do envisage hands with certain poses, and you'd gone down the sort of mixed media element here and used your 10 nails, 10 nail tips, and created this. You just had such an inventive approach to the light side of things, and the skill and the detail that's involved in every single one of these nails was astounding. It's just, it really showed that you'd pushed yourself with products and just completely thought outside of the box. And I think that's the exciting thing. That's someone that makes a world star nail artist, someone that isn't drawn to convention, someone that is so creative, does their research, and just manages to create something so beautiful, but something so inspiring, and something for so many contestants in this competition, I was wowed at how they went from brief to their final production, and the journey that they took us on through the video diary. I was like, your mind works in the most amazing ways. And there were so many of you that I thought that of, and this was just
all of us were like, just everyone was incredible. Like the work was just insane from everyone. Like, I just, yeah,
it incredible. Was so cool. But like you also showed so many different elements. I'm just going to share what it was like not lit up, so that we can see more of the color and the elements here. And it's just your hand painting skills, like your 3D creation skills. There's so much packed into this design, but yet it retained its fluidity, and it was cohesive, and it was striking, and it made us stand up and take notice, I think.
Oh, that's lovely to hear, Helena. This was the first challenge, I think, that I really doubted myself. So when I submitted this, I was like, oh, I don't think this has got the wow factor. So I couldn't believe it when I won. So yeah.
So for those that aren't aware, so obviously each challenge is judged, and sometimes we bring in guest judges as well for each challenge, but also there is a voting element as well. So when we receive the entries to each challenge, we put it out to a public vote, and that counts towards 5% of the overall scores. So it's enough to make a difference. And there were a couple of challenges where that 5%, those votes really did make a difference between first and second place. And you got so many votes for that, because I think it was just so standout, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I've seen the brief, wouldn't have thought of that at all. You've nailed it, for want of a better word. So that was really cool. But then we went on to, you kind of did the double, because you won this next challenge as well. And that's when we thought, hang on a minute, who have we got here? This person is incredible. Because like you said, you hadn't entered a nail competition before. Oh. And so it was amazing to kind of see this come about. Sorry, I'm just trying to find, here it is. These nails, you know, Katie, these are my favorite nails. These actually, and I've told you a couple of times, I said it on Winnie's podcast, these actually made me cry with how beautiful they are. Like, and please talk us through the idea behind these nails.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was the Beauty Plus, wasn't it? So we had to pick out a word from Beauty Plus and relate it to a client story. And I had a client a long time ago that had an arranged marriage. And it was just the connection we made through such a tough time, and just how incredible she was. And each of these nails represents one of her outfits or her jewelry for her wedding. Obviously a big 3-day event. And yeah, I mean, you just look at them now, I absolutely love them. Yeah, because they're just so me, colourful, blingy, lots of chrome work. Yeah. This is the sort of work I really enjoy, because I love the depth and all the hand painting, and I loved trying the you know, the gold moulding. I've never done that either before, so
I'm going to share a picture of that gold moulding, because I do have one here. Oh no, she lies. I did have one. Um, it's disappeared, but I will try and find that in a sec. But yeah, I think those nouns for me. The Beauty Plus acronym. So the brief for this one was so Beauty Plus is again something that Beauty Changes Lives and Jan Arnold is involved within. And the beauty acronym is belonging, equity, agility, unity, trust, and you. So you had to choose one of those words. Which word did you choose?
I was naughty though, I chose two. So in my henna design, I'd done trust and unity. Because I felt the trust that my client put into me, but also the unity between her and her husband. It eventually ended up being a love story. So I put two, so yeah.
And I think that's the thing. So we introduced to WSNA a video element. So you had to create, I think it was between a 5 and 7 minute video for every single challenge that you submitted to explain the meaning behind it. And there are a few people on social media just throughout the competition from an outsider's perspective who didn't quite understand, who would read the brief, because we put the brief in the captions, and would see a set of nails, and outsiders were like, well, I don't understand. But this video element was so important because it enabled you as the artist to tell us what those inspirational characteristics were, and to tell us the story. And when we learned what that story was and how it translated onto the nails, that was where we started really seeing how our artists' minds worked. And that was so fascinating.
I have to say, Helena, the videos themselves were a challenge because to fit in, you know, like this piece of work, 60 hours of work plus into 5 to 7 minutes was really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I'm glad we had the videos, because it was, if you just saw that, you wouldn't really know the inspiration, would you? So it was good to have them to explain.
Definitely. And I think also it's so important for us to realize now that as a nail artist, as a today nail artist, you rely so heavily on social media to promote your work, to promote your business, to engage clients, to get noticed. And it is a big part of being a nail artist now, is video content for social media. So we wanted to modernize this nail competition when we launched it by introducing that element, not just for our benefit as judges, but because if you're going to promote yourself as the world's star nail artist, you need to be really good at creating engaging videos. So when we gave feedback, there was a very strong element on the video side of things, what you need to do, how we felt watching it, and you know what worked, where the slides were too quick or they weren't framed correctly. And there were so many different elements that video is a massive part of the challenge. And was it something you were familiar with before?
I mean, I have done like video, like reels and stuff for Instagram, and like little tutorials and things like that. I've got a nail art workshop that I've recorded. So I kind of knew how to do that, but I didn't really understand what you guys wanted initially. So I feel like my video knowledge has grown massively. And definitely for the first couple of like the entry and the challenges, I didn't post my video at all. And I think the first one I posted was the Beauty Changes Lives challenge. And it changed everyone's engagement with me because they saw a different side to me. They saw what my inspiration was and what the challenges were all about. So it really helped posting the videos. So
amazing. And I think that's the thing with competition. So many people go in, and if they don't win, they're disheartened. But you have to take away the whole reason why you enter a competition is to learn, to grow, to push yourself, to get feedback. And it's great to hear that, you know, there are, because we had these dual elements to the competition, that people, contestants, finalists were learning both things. They were learning the importance of video creation and editing and self-promotion, while also learning how to stretch their skills to the absolute max to get that title of World Star Nail Artist.
Yeah, Helena, I couldn't agree more, because I feel like not only just skill set, video editing, photograph taking, but confidence as well, self-belief. There's so much like you get out of the competition. So yeah,
even though it's really hard work.
Oh, and hard work.
And hard work. At least you've got a bit of sleep back now, I think.
Yeah, just about.
Just about recovered from all those months, because I think we kicked this off. We it was running alongside the Scratch Stars Awards, which is for UK and Ireland based professionals and salons. But so I think we kicked off entries 1st of February. Entries had to be submitted by the 28th of February, and then it all started April time, and then it just was go right until the 23rd of July when you were announced as winner. So quite a long time. Then we came on to, so again, we had eliminations at each stage. Katy had won that Beauty Plus challenge with her beautiful Indian wedding inspired nails. So that was 2 challenges in a row. Then we went on to the one to watch challenge. And this was, the brief for this one was, I don't know if this was the most difficult brief. I'll leave that up to you to explain, but this one was you have to choose one nail medium, so one system only, and one color. You could use shades of that color, different tones, but one color to create a design on 5 nails that was inspired by you. So this is your fabulous creation. Do you want to talk us through?
Yeah, I think this probably was the hardest brief, only because, well, as you know, Helena, I had to clarify quite a lot with you, because we was thinking like top coats, are we allowed to use different types of gel? Like, I mean, yeah, I had to clarify quite a lot to make sure that I was right with this. But yeah, I think it was really hard, because until sort of this competition, I'd always use Aquagel. I love Aquagel, but I've never obviously done extreme lengths like this or shapes with it. So again, a learning curve. And my Aquagel range consists of my, Cover Pink, Cover Peach, my white and my clear. So I then was like, I know I still wanted to use Aquagel because it's what I'd used a lot through the competition, and it just would have seemed a shame to change medium. But then I dive into the world of coloured Aquagel, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm so glad I did, because it's a very simple set for me, but I do love it. I love all the shapes. I had fun creating them all. And they all represent a part of my journey. And so, yeah, I love it.
I think when we first saw this one, we'd seen such kind of, this was great for us as judges, because we'd seen such complex and intricate design styles from you. And of course, this one is so complex as well. But you'd shown us kind of 2 sides to your coin, well, more than 2 sides really throughout this competition, because you'd gone from very fine detailing to a more sort of abstract, clean design. And I think in my comments, I kept writing down clean aesthetic, really clean, and it showed me a very different side to you. So that was great for me, in that I saw, you know what, you can give Katy a brief, and she is so many different types of nail artists. She can execute so many different styles, which is amazing. And will you just talk us through a couple of the elements on these nails while they're on screen that represent you, and why?
Yeah, so I mean, the thumb one is mainly me. So again, if there was a side angle, it's got the Harry Potter lightning bolt scar. I love the flowers. I love obviously the painting and jewelry making. So there was like bits on sort of that. Love Disney. Obviously, every nail had to have love and sparkles. And then you've got things like phoenix wings, which represent sort of like the growth. A bridge to gap the education that I've learned, the knot to bind us together. So there was just a lot of meaning involved in the whole design really as well, but very simple for me. I was another one that concerned me when I submitted it. I was like, is this too clean for me? Because I do like to go extra, but I'm glad I showed a different side in my art. So
Definitely. And I think it also showed that you take risks as well. And that really does
Yeah.
pay off. I mean, it showed that you're not afraid to kind of step outside of your comfort zone a bit. And I think many nail artists out there will agree. Sometimes you've just got to go with the flow, see what you think is right, let your creativity run wild a little bit. And I'm just sharing the Harry Potter now that you talked about, that you said was very you. Can see the lightning bolt there. But
Yeah, I
even
think for me, Helena, with each challenge that I submitted, at the end of it, I knew that if I was happy with the design, then whatever happened in the competition happened.
yes.
So just to make sure that I was completely proud of the set that I submitted. And then if I had been eliminated, then I knew that I'd have done my best. So yeah, that's how I felt.
Amazing. And well, it definitely paid off as well. And yeah, those nails were just beautiful. It just, like I said, just so clean, and your tones and your shading. And again, you sailed through to the final challenge. So you were one of 4 people who submitted for the final challenge, which was amazing. And it was 4 people from the UK that ended up in this challenge. So it was yourself, Monica Kupian, Camilla Borovic, and Gemma Dawson. And then the theme for this final challenge, basically, the top 2 would then sail straight into the final. And the brief for this was Bizarre Beauty. So C&D's summer collection is called Bizarre Beauty. It actually featured on Scratch's June front cover. So a lot of you might remember that. And it was just basically to just be a bit bizarre. It was to create something a bit out there on 10 tips or 10 nails. It had to include 3D elements, at least one non-nail product. So again, thinking outside the box, and there had to be new nail shapes. We didn't want to see any conventional shapes whatsoever. It had to be weird and wonderful, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
And weird and wonderful you created. So I've got 2 pictures to share here. So this is the first of Katy's pictures. So let's have a look at the right hand. Will you talk us through the shapes, the styles, the inspiration behind this one?
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it? So because this was the last challenge, I wanted to showcase the whole journey. Again, it was a tough one because it was 10 nails, and same, I think it was less time actually, Helena, wasn't it, for this one? I think
10 days, I think.
Yeah. And I was so behind on this one. But again, looking at them now, I'm so pleased that I stayed up all those nights doing it, because they are wacky. So each nail represents a part of the challenges. So the little finger on this one, it's the bridal nails, but just in a very bizarre way. So it's still the henna patterns, but in these funky little faces. Some of the stripes from Levette's nail from the coalition. Obviously my outer space astronaut, but with an alien hand instead. And then the dots again were from Levette's nail in coalition. And then my funky little scratch WSNA, huge nail. It ended up being much bigger than I planned that to be.
But this was amazing. I mean, I'll show the second hand in a minute, but just, I think what I really loved about your final challenge is that I think you're pretty much the only finalist who used your entire journey as inspiration for this final set. So for me, it was really bookended quite nicely. And I mean, other finalists used, their home life, their career, for all different perspectives. But this one, I thought it was very clever how you to play on the bizarre twist. You'd gone back on your WSNA journey and looked at each of your challenges and thought, I'm going to put a twist on each of those. And again, that just showed me how your mind works as someone who's so creative. And it was just, I could see the time, the energy, the effort, the product control, the innovativeness that had gone into every single one of these nails. And it also showed that your hand painted skills had, like, we were looking we looked across, when we were judging, we looked across everyone's journey, and your journey, I think, had come so far. Your scratch logo is absolutely brilliant. So good. I'll try and get another photo up in a minute, because this sort of concertina effect, people might be able to see a little bit on screen now, but you know, if you look at it from one angle, it says scratch, and then you look at it from the other angle and it says WSNA. And I will get the other one up while we're here. Bear with me. Here it is. So I will just share the other side of this.
Yeah, it was like a little play on like the metaverse design, because obviously they wanted like the two-tone sort of illusion, didn't they? So it was a little play on that one as well.
I mean, it was just so ingenious. It was so clever. Here it is now. You can see the WSNA on that side, and a closer look at the top of the nails. And just so, like, I just don't know how
it's so bizarre, Helena, right?
It's so weird, so wonderful. But I think you've got to be a little bit bizarre to be a nail artist, because it's art.
Yeah.
And
art's to be creative, I think.
Exactly that. And I hope nobody will mind saying that you do have to be a little bit bizarre in this nail world sometimes to get results that no one's seen before. So love that. I'm going to show the other hand now to have a little talk through this.
I know they were so much all together, but yeah, so that's my portrait. So I painted myself with lots of glitter, and then cut my face up, which was quite weird. So like in an abstract way, and I used a seashell there, and created a crab claw shaped nail for my hair clip, you know, because as you do. And then the windmill with some patterns from the coalition. These funky eyes. I think the eye one has got to be my favorite out of all of these nails.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I love it. That's so weird, this one.
So weird. Yeah, it's so weird. But I love it. That was representing the Beauty Changes Lives. I've done a big eye in that one. My spiral nail from my pink set. I loved that. I loved creating those as well. Yeah. And then the thumb is from the Metaverse set as well, just a little bit of a spin on it, and I've done like some sort of like butterfly bubbles that move on those as well.
See, that's the thing, like I think this final challenge of yours incorporated so many different techniques. I was like, if you would literally just you've chucked everything at it, and you've been like, this is everything that I can do. It showed us you really want this, you've got the skills to have this title, you've got movement in there, you've you know, taken inspiration from Maisie Ways, the technique, look at the spiral nails and the shapes that you've created. And I think on yours, every single nail was so drastically different in terms of shape, that this, I think, really stood out to us, because it's like, wow, you've taken the brief and you've gone above and beyond with the brief. It showed how much you, I think, wanted it, and showed that you could do it.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to literally make each nail so interesting in its own right. I mean, they all look a bit strange together as a set, but I love each nail. So yeah, I just wanted to put everything into it. And I love now looking back and just seeing that's my entire journey, just in one set of nails.
It's such an amazing like thing to look back on. I mean, what have you done with the nails now? Where are they?
Oh, so I've started framing them because I want to put them on my wall. So I've got a couple. I've got a few just sitting there. But yeah, I've started framing them so we can showcase them all.
There it is. Amazing.
Yeah. So hopefully can have them up on this wall.
Fantastic. What a wonderful addition. That sounds really great. And then, so with that final challenge, that saw you and Monica head straight into the final. And then Gemma Dawson and Camilla moved into the wildcard deck to compete for an all-important place in the final, alongside a few other wildcard members who had continued their journey the whole way through. And we were supposed to have a top three. However, we only had, I think, 5 days to judge this final competition, and to decide who was going into the final by the time the wildcard contestants had got their final challenge through. And I think that we found, obviously, there will always be changes and learning curves, even as judges and organisers in the first year. And what we saw is that people's artistry was so different that you almost couldn't compare one with the other. It was comparing apples and pears, basically. And I think what we saw is that we just couldn't decide between there were 3 people, and we're like, their art is so different, they're so skilled in so many different ways, that we then decided to create a top 5 and invite them to London to the Scratch Stars party, where we looked at each of their journeys and then decided on our winner. So ultimately it then came out that Lying Lu from China was in 5th place. So we were at the Scratch Stars party announcing this. It was the final announcement of the night. So a long wait for you probably, Katie, right?
It was pretty nerve-wracking, but the party was so fun, and seeing everyone else kind of get their awards was awesome. So
I love that. You were like, yeah, it was great. Also, I really wanted to know.
Yeah, we all did.
Cool. I mean, so we announced Lying Lu as 5th, Gemma Dawson from the UK as 4th, and then it came to who was 3rd, 2nd and 1st, and we announced Monica Kupian as 3rd place, Camilla Borowicz in 2nd place, which left you as the winner.
I know.
And how did you feel when it was announced?
Well, I think the photographer captured my face perfectly. How good was that photo? I was shocked. I mean, when it was just down to me and Camilla, I was actually cuddling her and going, you've got this, because I just didn't think for a minute that it was going to be me at all. So yeah, I think utter shock was the first sort of feeling, as you can tell by the picture, and then absolute just excitement, and I was so proud, and yeah, it was a crazy moment. I'd love to live it all again.
I mean, yeah, it was so nice to see you all there together, because we've been following this journey with you from since April, and I think we kind of got to know the contestants through their videos and through chatting to them on email and being on the podcast Beyond the Brush with Winnie Huang. And I just think that it was really lovely for you to all come together on the evening. And was it nice for you to meet the others?
Yeah, I have to say, the whole way through, all of the competitors have been incredibly supportive. So we've got a Facebook group with the 21 of us in it, and everyone is just lovely and has been literally the whole way. But the 4 of us, so Camilla, Monica, Gemma and myself, have become quite close because we've done the last part of the journey, with each other. So we've done the podcast, obviously the top 4. So it was just so nice to meet them in person. I've known Gemma for a while over Instagram. So it was just so lovely, and getting to party with them. And yeah, it was great. Loved it.
Awesome. And we've got so many exciting things to come for you. So you are now going to be writing a column for Scratch, offering lots of hints and tips for people who want to get into competitions, and about your journey, and sharing more about you as Katy P, and or as I call you, Positive Pottle, because you were always with so much positivity on every one of your videos.
I like that.
And I think that this is just the start of your journey now. I think there's so much more to come and to do. And I think, what are you hopeful for, and what excites you?
Well, I really want to get into teaching. So I had started doing my AET last year, and with different bits and bobs that was going on, and then throwing myself into the competition, I haven't finished it. So I'm hoping now that I've got a little bit of time, I can get that completed, and really start going into education. And yeah, if I can inspire anyone in the nail industry to do what I've done, then I'm super happy. I'm always here for help, support, tips, just to chat as well. I love connecting with other people in the industry as well. So yeah, that excites me for now.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I think, what advice would you give to anyone thinking of doing the World Star Nail Artist journey next year?
I'm going to just say a simple, just do it. Don't think about it, just enter, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose.
Amazing, but also be prepared, because it's tough.
I mean, yeah.
You might not get much sleep.
It is tough, but worth it.
And I think a really nice other element to it was the social media side as well, because we had that voting element, and it was such an important part. It was nice to see everyone sharing their work, building their profile on social media, and really focusing on social media accounts, which, like I said, are so important as well. So it was nice that there was constantly something going on and something to talk about.
Yeah, and it felt so lovely for me when we had to kind of get the votes of people kind of coming together and voting, and taking the time to do it was so nice, and the support and the messages from everyone. Yeah, incredible industry to be in.
Is, isn't it? And there's always something so exciting around the corner coming through. So just one final question: what has the World Star Nail Artist competition taught you about yourself?
Oh wow, that's a huge thing. I don't know about taught me, because I've learnt loads. I think with growing my skill set, video editing, maybe time management. But what it's given me is massive amounts of self-belief and confidence in my skill, which I'm going to take that away and yeah, with me forever, and it's going to be great. So that is, I think, got to be the hugest thing for me.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Katy. You've been so wonderful to get to know as a contestant, and I've just been so amazed by your creativity and your passion and your willingness to just dive right in and do whatever is thrown at you. And it's just been so wonderful to kind of meet you and just see what you come up with next. So, it's like what Katy did next. I can't wait to see.
No, I've got that book as well.
I know, there we go. Well, I can't wait to see all of that and continue your journey. And yeah, for anyone else thinking of competing, like Katy said, follow her on social media, and yeah, look at her journey, and I'm sure she's around if you ever need any advice or questions answered.
Yeah, definitely, always give me a message.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Katy, for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you.